the ABC News Magazine 2020. Tonight, who said the day will come when everyone in America will be famous for 15 minutes? Andy Warhol, and he's the American pop artist who's as famous as Campbell's Soup. 2020 takes you inside the Warhol art and fame machine and shows you the making of the portrait of Farrah Fawcett in Udown's report on Andy Warhol.
Who is the best known and certainly the most controversial artist in America today? I'll give some hints. He painted dollar bills, Coke bottles, Marilyn Monroe, and this, a Campbell's soup can. Andy Warhol, that's who. He makes art out of everyday things, and he uses many media. You blink and he's doing something new. Lately, a major art opening and publication of his first book of photographs. And now, just out, another book called Popism, about his life and friends in the 60s. Well, tonight, 2020 looks into the weird world of Andy Warhol.
There we go. That's what I wanted. There we go. Super. There we go.
Although Andy Warhol's name is known around the world, few people have seen behind his public face. Criticized for being a commercial self-promoter, he remains a private person, a combination of publicity shy, publicity whirlwind. He uses his shyness to superb effect, making connections as he goes.
Oh, isn't that great? Yeah, I love it.
It's nice that you're visiting us here in Washington.
This is as big as Kissinger.
He gets to know everyone, despite the fact that he rarely talks and never commits himself.
Are you going to support Carter again
Oh,
this time?
yes, yeah.
What, over Teddy Kennedy you'll support him?
I think it'd be great to do both.
Great to tell about both, you mean?
He always carries a camera and a tape recorder, and he listens. Quiet and inarticulate, Andy is content to be an observer.
I look shy, and I am shy. And my voice is cracking, shy.
Andy has always had a fan mentality. He worships stars.
Andy Warhol, I'm sure.
Gets to know them. In many cases, arranges to paint their portraits.
I asked him if he took my photograph, would he then paint it? And you all saw him nod, yes.
With his distinctive, colorless face, Andy always stands out. But it's his philosophy that anyone can be famous for 15 minutes.
He's as famous as a rock and roll singer or as famous as a TV star. And he's the only artist ever in the history of America who's been able to do that. He's really elevated fame to a higher level. Fame is more famous now than it was before there was Andy. People can get more famous, and fame is more meaningful now. And although Andy, I'm sure, is sick of, hearing what he said, everyone's going to be famous for 15 minutes, you notice that Andy has been famous for 15 years.
Actually, it was 30 years ago when a skinny art student named Andy Warhol came to New York from Pittsburgh. He became a fashion illustrator, drawing shoes for Glamour, Vogue, and Harper's Bazaar. He was hardworking and dependable, and noticed for his originality and imagination. Determined to attract the attention of the serious art world, he experimented with painting dollar bills and newspaper headlines, even an electric chair. But it was his Campbell's soup cans that caught on everywhere. He painted them by hand, but wanted more of an assembly line effect, so he began using a camera and silk screening the photographs.
Andy was the first pop artist to use cans of soup, Brillo boxes, bottles of Coca-Cola, all kinds of things which ordinary people don't think of as being worthy of artistic treatment. And I think that Andy took these and somehow he made them into unforgettable images. He gave them a completely new look.
The silk screen, the repetitive image and personalities, had become his trademark. He cut out pictures of stars from magazines and made them distinctively his own. His studio was called The Factory, well named because Andy had a large staff of assistants and was cranking out canvases that by now were in huge demand. The Factory also became a center of underground movie making, and Andy was seen around town with the flamboyant stars of his movies, Ultraviolet, Viva, Hollywood Lawn. Kiss, one of 16 movies Andy made in 1 year, exemplifies the Warhol movie-making technique. Silent, black and white, unedited films that dwelt on a single theme. Some, like Sleep and Empire, lasted 6 hours, and often bored, outraged audiences demanded their money back. In 1968, Andy was more controversial than ever. There were assassinations in that violent year, Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King. And Andy was nearly killed, shot by an actress who'd been in his movies. It took him a year to recover. By the 70s, his portraits were taking on a new look and commanding huge prices. $50,000 for a commissioned portrait. Money that allowed him to branch out into cable television, writing, and publishing, primarily a magazine called Interview.
Is this the way it's going to look?
Yeah, except the picture will
Be bigger. Oh, great. Oh, great. So, did you sell any ads today? You did?
After 10 years of losing money, the magazine is finally turning a profit. Andy is publisher of Interview. Bob Colacello is the editor.
When you're talking about Australia, and then they say, I want to go there, it sounds like the really new California.
Oh, I added that.
You mean you're putting words in my mouth, Bob?
To make you have something to say for a change.
Terrific.
Andy recently came out with his first book of photographs called Exposures and gave a party at the factory to celebrate its publication.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun, but everything looks so great.
The book is photographs of Andy's friends. His idea of a good picture? One of a famous person doing something unfamous. It's being in the right place at the wrong time. To promote it, Andy set off on a cross-country book signing tour. It's been said that Andy's best art is publicity.